Reading Pioneers is proud to present the month of Christmas, days 11 to 15, written by C. Mice. Day 13, Outdoor Games. Day 13 of Christmas month is Outdoor Games Day. All the elves have off today. They need a break from work. There are so many games on this day. Here are just a few. Everyone, including the snow creatures, go to downhill for the races. It is the tallest, steepest hill at the North Pole. Old Man Winter is the starter. The North Wind watches. He loves outdoor games. First, the snow creatures have a belly whopper race. They start at the top of the hill and slide down on their bellies all the way to the finish line. Everyone cheers! Who do you think will win? When the belly whopper race is done, the elves have races. The belly whoppers packed the snow down to make ice so it is very hard and slick and fast. The elves have two sled races. The first race is to see who can go the fastest straight down the hill. The ice is so fast that one time an elf forgot to use his feet for brakes at the end and slid all the way back to the enchanted forest. Luckily, he was able to use the travel portal that the pink fairy made to get back to the North Pole rather quickly. Did you know the first sleds were used on sand? The Egyptians used sleds to carry obelisks over the desert sand around 3100 BC. I was just a mouseling then. The other sled race is a slalom. The elves race down the hill and must weave around snow boulders and collect moonbeams. Sometimes Jack Frost throws snowflakes to distract them. Sometimes they crash and fly into the air, but always land in soft snowdrifts unhurt. The elf with the fastest time and the most moonbeams is the winner. There is also sled jumping. An elf slides down the hill on a sled, then up a snow ramp. The elf who jumps the farthest is the winner. One time, the north wind was watching and sneezed. The gust of wind made the elf fly out of sight. It took him a full day to walk back home. His jump was disqualified for being wind aided. The elves also do target sled jumping. They fly off the ramp and must land as close to a target as possible. Kind of like horseshoes for sleds. Curling is very popular with the elves. They play outside on the frozen lake. Did you know curling was played in Scotland as far back as the 1500s? After the outdoor games, every elf is so cold. For dinner, they make a special Christmas soup and bread. The soup is full of so many vegetables, and the bread is crisp and warm. The soup always has one Christmas pepper to add spice. It is always the last thing thrown in the pot. Every elf is careful with the Christmas pepper because, as I told you earlier, Christmas peppers are toxic to animals, especially dogs and cats. Mrs. Claus makes sure Iris and Fudge do not get near a pepper. Christmas soup and bread is an elf tradition because it was the first food the elves shared when they came to the North Pole. Let me tell you that story. No elf eats meat only fruits, vegetables, cheese, and grains. When they left the enchanted forest, each elf brought magic seeds that grow anywhere, even in snow. And the seeds grow as soon as they hit the ground. But the seeds need sunlight to grow, of course, and it was nighttime. The travelers had brought some vegetables, but not enough for a good dinner. They did not plan well. Every elf did bring hay for the reindeer, thank goodness. After a long journey, all were famished. What do you think they can do? The sugar plum fairies were also on the journey. The pink fairy said, I can help. She waved her wand, and a large pot appeared. She tossed a speck of fairy dust in the pot and said, Pot, cook now. The pot began to cook. She said, Fairy dust soup is good, but vegetable soup is better. The elves and soldiers ran to their sleighs and got the few vegetables they brought. There were tomatoes and potatoes, carrots and peas, corn and onions, green beans and red beans, and lastly, a pepper. They tossed it all in the giant pot. The pot bubbled and boiled. The soup smelled delicious. The yellow fairy said, Bread would be good with the soup. She waved her wand, and this time an oven appeared. She tossed in a few grains of wheat and said, Oven, bake now. The oven began to bake, and the wheat grain became many loaves of wheat bread. As the soup boiled and bubbled, and the bread baked brown, the elves ran to their sleighs and fed the reindeer the hay they had brought for the trip. The reindeer were also famished and were happy to be fed. The pink fairy said, Pot, stop now! And it did. The pot was full, and there was now enough soup for all. The yellow fairy said, Oven, stop now! And it did. It was full of golden brown loaves of bread. After a hearty bowl of soup and a large slice of bread, everyone was full. The pink fairy said, You were all so generous with the little food you had. I will give each household a magic cooking pot when you finish building your homes. You can add the things you want to cook and say, Pot, cook now. To stop the pot, say, Pot, stop now. Be careful. If you do not say, Pot, stop now, the pot will cook and cook and cook and soon make too much food. Remember, pot, stop now. The yellow fairy said, I too will give you a gift. Your generosity to share your food has touched my heart. Each household will be given a magic oven. Put in one seed of grain, and the oven will bake one loaf of bread. Be sure to say, Oven, stop now, or the bread will turn from golden brown to charcoal black. And that is how Jack Frost, still an elf at the time, got his magic oven for the bowling alley. The elves slept in their sleighs that night under heavy blankets. They were warm and cozy from eating the hot soup and delicious bread earlier. They dreamed of sugar plums and fairies, and soup and bread. The next morning, one elf woke up early. He wanted to make breakfast for everyone. He had a potato seed and tossed it in the snow. Since the sun was now up, the seed immediately grew into a potato plant. He dug the potatoes out of the snow and went to the large magic pot. He tossed potatoes in and said, "Pot, cook now!" The pot did. He also tossed several grains of rye in the oven and said, "Oven, bake now!" The oven began to bake loaves of rye bread. Potato soup and dark rye bread is the favorite breakfast of every elf. The pot was getting fuller and fuller. The bread was getting browner and browner. Soon the pot was almost full, and the bread was almost brown. The elf said, "Stop, pot, now!" The pot did not stop. He said, "Oven, now stop!" The bread turned a darker brown. What could he do? The soup would soon spill over, and the bread would soon burn. He ran and got Mrs. Claus. They both ran back to the pot and oven. Mrs. Claus said, "Pot, stop now!" It did. She yelled, "Oven, stop now!" And it did. The elf was relieved he did not ruin breakfast for everyone. The elf wrote down, "Pot, stop now," and "Oven, stop now" on a piece of paper. He would tape it to the wall in his kitchen after he built his house. Soon, all the elves, soldiers, and fairies woke up and smelled something delicious. They ran to the cooking pot and oven. Mrs. Claus had bowls ready to serve the soup, and the little elf was slicing rye bread for all. They had a wonderful breakfast, then traveled on to the North Pole. I hope you liked that story. Remember, always be generous and share what you have when others are in need. Now, go play some outdoor games, if it is not too late at night. Of course. Activities. Click on Activities to ride the slalom sled and learn about curling. Happy Holidays from Reading Pioneers. This video is part of The Month of Christmas, a book series by Sea Mice, who asked me to read the entire series on this YouTube channel. While this is only one part of the book, you can find out what happens next by subscribing and staying tuned until December 25th, which is when I will finish with the entire book series. That's right. Every day for the next 4 weeks, I will be uploading a story about Christmas. The best part is, this series can be found on Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and many other platforms for free. Yes, free! Links are available in the description box below, so you can grab a copy of this part and all of the others right now. Also, please support the channel by liking the video and sharing it with your friends and family. If you have a book you'd like to be read on this channel, please send me an email, contact@readingpioneers.com, so we can turn it into the next video. Unfortunately, this is it for today. I can't wait to show you the next part of the series, so stay tuned, and thanks again, readers, for joining us today. Until next time, I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye-bye!